gathering of live musicians, but reggae and indie music. So I found them from one artist that I listened to, and now I've gone on the whole rabbit hole. So yeah, fantastic. Let's say hello to Mati as well. Mati, welcome to the show.
Dude, what were you jamming to just now? That was awesome.
Did you like that? Oh, it's coming soon. Hey, Sugar Shack Sessions. It's called Little Stranger. They're an incredible band, indie reggae band. Hopefully, we'll get to see them live. Maybe we'll bring them out to Tel Aviv. So anyway, good morning to you guys. GM. It's great to be here on the breakfast show. Mati, I think we're going back to the 6 month chop period where we every day we check in. We're like, nope, still chopping. Is that what's happening now, or do you think that we're going to break that 100K before the end of the year?
Oh, dude. Yeah, let's take a look. So the big news yesterday came out that Joe Biden's administration had transferred 2,000 coins from Silk Road to Coinbase. The quick mathematics on that's about $2 billion at today's values of 100K, or rounding up to 100K. That is, I mean, it's enough to make a significant dent in the market if they do like a market sell order or something along those lines. Although, I mean, it's not a huge amount when you consider, the daily traffic and daily flows of Bitcoin and on-chain volumes and stuff like that. Here's the chart. Very simple. We take a look at this massive run. This was the previous all-time high, 74,000 even. That was broken on election day as soon as Trump's confirmation came in. Zoom to the moon. We did not have what it takes to breach that 100K level. It could go straight up from here always, but I think that, this 40% movement within 3 weeks has kind of exhausted all of the buying pressure. And especially if we get Biden's final White House dump, we could be looking to test support somewhere around the 74K level. Watch that blue line every day creeping up towards that level. So maybe we get a double support.
The headlines are going to read Mati calls for 74K by New Year's.
I wouldn't say 74K specifically. I mean, that would be like very trippy, but like even 76 or who knows, maybe even 80. Again, past performance does not equal future results. Nobody fucking knows where the market might end up going one day, and especially in the short term. All we know is long-term trajectory is up, and as I've stated many times, with the Trump victory, Elon Musk coming in, Dogecoin occupying the U.S. government, completely reducing government spending. This is going to have a knock-on effect, which is going to lead to freedom and prosperity for all mankind. Other countries will have no choice but to follow suit within the next few years after seeing the magical results of smaller government. Democracy will do its thing, and politicians who are campaigning on bigger government are going to get the axe. And therefore, I believe, and I just had confirmation bias last week. I don't know if you saw the podcast with Joe Rogan with Mark Andreessen. As soon as he said the words, "We're entering a golden era," I jumped up in my seat because I said those exact words in my newsletter a few days prior. This, with the technology that we have today, if government gets the F out of the way and doesn't try to control things like Andreessen revealed, we could indeed be going into an age of peace and prosperity that could last for centuries. I see nothing stopping the human race. So let's fucking go.
Amen. I like that you kind of take a long-term exponential view on it, and it's not even that long-term. I mean, I was just chatting to a friend, and I remember in 2022 they were saying by the end of the decade there would be a AI that generates from start to finish a Netflix series, and now we need to get to the end of the decade. It's 2024, and there's like one of these memes I've been checking is called sitcom. and it's basically a Telegram chat where you go into the chat and you suggest scenes. So you can say Gary Gensler getting hung from the town square, and then that will generate a Pepe-based, you know, scene with the Pepe characters and playing it out. Everything's generated by AI, the text, the script, the voice, and it's 24/7 like sitcom of Pepe characters talking smack, and it's
Nice.
super completely AI generated, and that's 2024. We got to that. That was, I'm talking to you 3 years ago. There wasn't even the first edition of Midjourney. You couldn't even generate a picture or a little bit of the tag. So, to see that explosion of prosperity and wealth and to see it combined with crypto for whatever reason that we'll discover soon is incredible to see ourselves. GM to you, welcome. I think
I like
if there's something that if there's somebody that can talk to crypto and talk to AI and talk to why or if they should be married together, we've got our stuff on the line for that. Our stuff is the co-founder and COO of Addressable. I got to know our stuff a little bit during when the war started. Right, we started to use Addressable for targeting. We had like 3 days before the whole of crypto Twitter turned anti-Semitic, and we took those 3 days. We ran on that. We raised some money for families and victims of the October 7 attack through crypto, and then straight the sentiment shift on. So I got to see a bit of their platform and how they work on Twitter. It's exceptional, and I'm happy to have our stuff here to update us where what years since then. So how
You
it's
got to
come
give
along.
a disclaimer as well, Dudu.
The disclaimer, of course. Anything you say, no. Thank you to DLT Law, our sponsors for this episode. DLT Law are your partners for all things regulatory and compliance in Web3. Build responsibly with DLT Law. I think it's super crucial to have the right lawyers who understand the game right now, because you're going to start to see some shifts in the US market with Trump coming in, hopefully appointing a more friendly SEC chairman or chairwoman, and getting those securities laws sort of ironed out to make it much easier for companies to issue tokens, to launch projects, to get, not get debanked. The Democrats were debanking crypto founders, and now there's a chance that Trump might remove capital gains for US issued tokens. So we're about to see our 180-degree flip in the attitude. So get yourself a good lawyer. Our stuff, maybe tell us a little bit, GM, tell us a little bit more about you. What's your take on what you feeling on the market? Are you ready for the 100K pod?
So thank you so much for having me today, Dudu. So kind of to provide the broader context, I'm one of the co-founders of Addressable. We build a Web3 growth platform that connects data about wallet owners from the blockchain, what they're doing on social, to help companies better understand their target audiences and grow. So my take on the market is from the perspective of both seeing data, seeing trends, seeing what companies are looking at. We're working today with some of the biggest companies in the industry, ranging from Polygon, Base, Algorand, and more of that. So I would say my take on what's happening on the market, which is definitely positive, is coming from two angles. One of them is we're seeing new clients that we're working with are getting prepared with a lot of positivity towards Q1. I think that throughout 2024, we've seen a lot of kind of companies that are launching tokens, that are running projects on chain, being more on the fear side of the fear greed index, thinking about when would that be a good time to launch. And we definitely see lots of positivity on the market. People are getting prepared for a Q1 that I think is going to have so many launches, which is correlating to what I think we see on the market at the moment. So this is great. And the second thing that we're seeing is when we're analyzing the data of what this trend looked like in buying, I think throughout 2024, we saw a lot of a stagnant market. We saw the people that were overly bullish on crypto continue to buy, continue to stack up. There were always the true believers that knew that this day would be coming. but I don't think we've seen a lot of new people entering crypto. A lot of because the state of the market. We're seeing that starting to change. I think obviously the election of Donald Trump probably is the biggest factor in that. But I think there's another thing. I think the A16Z report on stable coins and the state of that, with stable coins getting to product market fit, is getting a lot of businesses to think crypto is not going away with the vibe or the general feeling from the election. There's lots of confidence that that's even going to grow. How can we capitalize on that? How can we, as a retail business selling fashion, selling travel, selling anything else, can benefit from lots of people that are owning crypto, that are looking for making that a meaningful form of payment? And we're seeing more businesses that are looking into stable coins and payment as a mean of growth. And I think altogether that is generating an amazing feeling of growth in the market, going into 2025.
Epic. I want to hear more about the stable. Then I'm curious about how, like, you're tracking the market push from a data provider perspective, because you're seeing, we're seeing Twitter, the feed, and you're seeing Twitter as in the numbers of the wallet holders going up, and people becoming more active. And so maybe you can share a little bit about, give us a little hope here from the metrics you're seeing that will let us know that our bags are about to pump.
Perfect. So I think there's two aspects that we're tracking. One of them is whenever we're working with customers, it typically starts with, what are you launching? What are you looking to promote? Who's the target audience for that? I think originally what we saw was a lot of businesses aiming for the natives, especially with DeFi and with Web3 gaming, that were then very, very deep into the tokenized assets. What everybody wanted are the people in the core of crypto, the people that understand the value of a wallet. They already have some net worth on chain. They know what they're doing. It was very, very difficult to find these users. I think what's changing is we're starting to see more and more companies aiming for the mainstream. There's a clear feeling that more people that hadn't been invested into crypto so far, or were maybe on centralized exchanges but not on chain, are demonstrating a clear positivity about wanting to go in. So this is one thing that we're seeing on the business side of things, right? Just by talking to customers. And if we're looking at the data side of things, we're seeing two trends that I think are going to be very meaningful in 2025. The first trend is when analyzing on-chain businesses that are accepting stable coins. Either by, there's a wallet, you can send that stable coin and get goods, whether that's fashion, travel, or any other form of business. We're looking at wallets and smart contracts that are accepting transactions from a wide variety of clients at the scale that is meaningful, which is $50 to $100 million a year. We're starting to see a trend of growth, which is also in line with the A16Z report on stablecoin adoption. We believe that this trend would be leading to a lot of normies and people that are thinking about using crypto, using that to buy cars, using that to buy other form of goods, which in turn will open up crypto from the core in which it's in today into the mainstream, which I think it's not just about pumping our bags, but it's really about finding the utility in the redistribution of wealth that a lot of us have been looking for.
Yeah, it's amazing. So it's not just about pumping our bags. I think it's when I see the amount of, and we'll get into that now, but the amount of just pure volume being generated on social media now with AI agents and all that's happening in that front. Hopefully Mati's okay. Shout out to Mati, and shout out to the shirt that I'm wearing right now, to Zengo. I got this last week, and I actually just did my winter cupboard, like winter to summer, and a lot of the clothes that I threw away was like swag from company. Like I chose like which company's swag I wanted to keep. I had like from old companies that I worked at or conferences that I've been to, whatever. And just like, okay, market cap dead. But Zengo I kept as a new one because I think they're a great option for people coming into the space. And even if you're in the space, like I think seed phrase vulnerability is one of the things that keep me up at night, and it's great to try and use and try a product that doesn't have those. So shout out to Zengo for the share and for everything else that's to come. Now back to our issue, AI agents, right? If you have you seen them around? I'm sure you've seen them. I'm sure that you've seen that big spike. Like on Friday, the virtual was popping off. There was also a comparative ecosystem in Solana with coins like Weifu and other platform AI16Zs that allow you to create AI agents. And there are just tons of AI agents, and they have wallets attached to them. On the base blockchain is pushing very hard to combine like on-chain wallets with these agents. So you have an agent that has his own Twitter account, his own Telegram, his own wallet, and that's just going to create volume, on-chain volumes and Twitter tweet volume. Like, I think any company that doesn't have at least 2 or 3 of these agents for on their socials every day will be forgotten in 5 years' time. Like the sheer volume of having all these agents, is just going to drown out anyone that's not using the AI. So, all happened very suddenly. All virtuals, all these platforms are barely a month old. So I'm curious as to your take. How are you seeing this as someone who came from an AI background and now, pivoting since then into crypto?
Yeah, I think this is really finding the fit of what digital currency was all about. When I was doing my master's and my PhD, and kind of shifting from pure AI academic research into the world of crypto and blockchain, we were designing some layer ones. I used to give talks about Bitcoin and the meaning of digital currency. And one of the clearest things about the advantages of digital currency is especially when you're buying digital goods, right? Because then all of that can be programmed. You can generate the trust in which I can pay for a digital good and ensure that I'm getting the good, and the person on the other end is getting the payment without any trusted third party in the middle. That was a nice idea, but ultimately, I think what people tried doing with Bitcoin and with other currencies as well is using them to buy physical goods, which was difficult, right? It's still about, can I use my Bitcoin to buy a car or to buy a watch or to buy anything that's nice for that? I think the merging of an AI agent economy is probably the point of balance in which there's a new economy that's spinning up that has lots of value to the world. It facilitates a lot of arts that are gone from the world. There are jobs that are very difficult to find, anything from digital marketing and advertising to some finance positions to even going on social media and spraying and providing messages. It's very difficult to hire these people, not to mention doing that at scale. And this is purely digital work, which means it's a perfect use case for a digital currency to go out there in the middle. It suddenly makes a lot of sense to create this economy in which there's AI and digital services on one end that are being backed, paid by, and even invested in by digital currency. So I think we're going to see much more of these trends. I think specifically on AI, this is definitely taking over. I don't think we can ever look back into like 2 years ago and thinking about a point in time in which we were not using AI. This is definitely just going to spike up. And I think it makes so much of a perfect sense to pay for that with digital currency that is removing the middleman, removing the need for trust, and creating a full economy in which you can consume services without thinking about what exactly does it mean, how do you pay for that, and how to.
I got a question, right? So we got AI agents now running around with crypto wallets and building their own businesses and stuff like that. So, I know that we're all worried about the Terminator future. Maybe not as prevalent at the moment, but I'm thinking about something even worse, is where maybe the AI agents get too good at managing money and building businesses, and they squeeze the rest of us out. So what happens when they start like, building everything that can be built, and then we don't have any real use case anymore?
So it is the terminated use case. I'm not able to predict the future. I don't think any of us can.
Oh, come on.
What I'm saying, yeah, I'm not the fortune teller, but what I do think about the state of AI is, and I think we saw that a lot with Tesla, in their evolution, is we'll ultimately need to bound what a specific AI is built for, and I think we're still a bit far away, not just from AI building another AI, but also from the point of orchestration, right? The ability to kind of manage different AI agents that would fill on different tasks and kind of combining everything for a very perfect decision making. I don't think we're at this point just yet, and I'm dying to hear your thoughts on that, Mati and Dudu. If you're thinking if we're kind of on the brink of,
you're saying the AI is very much in the tactical, in the in the sort of the tactical level. It's still not at the strategic level where it's deciding what best to put our efforts in as humanity, as a universe, as organism. But it's very task specific as opposed to more generalist. And that's, I think, what people talk about AGI. They the end goal, and like people were scared that ChatGPT and Anthropic were getting very close to AGI because the curves just went vertical. And if we had got to AGI, there was a fear, yes, maybe AI can start to be on a strategic, operate at a strategic level. But I think, I'm curious to hear from the technical side, but there seems to be some block in the last, couple months since ChatGPT, GPT 4.0 came out, or 3. We haven't seen that exponential growth. I think it could be maybe they're throttling it, maybe they've got more powerful capabilities in these little cells, the Anthropic or OpenAI, or these companies, maybe they have more powerful models, or maybe we just hit some sort of a limit that we need to break through. But either way, I look at that outcome, what you talk about, Mati, as a utopian outcome. Like, there's a lot of shit in my life that I rather not do. I love sitting here talking to you guys, but all the things around it, like creating a link and a graphic and a description and that, I just want to kind of speak into my phone. I'm chatting with Asaf and Mati about this and this, and then in 1 second everything is set up for me. And that's and managing money. How much more so? Like, I see that I want, imagine having an AI that can beat the meme coin market, and just winning you, making you money. And what are you going to spend your time on? That's a big question. I think for a lot of people, their income is not just a source of, their job is not just a source of income. It's a source of belonging and meaning and definition. I am a doctor. I am an accountant. If you take away that, people without that, like if they independent, or they become lost. They haven't really no mooring, because for the whole of 5 days a week from 9 to 5, and except for 2 weekends a year, they were an accountant, and then they got home and they were a dad, and then. But when someone asks you who you are, I'm an accountant, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm this. And AI is just going to change the game. It's going to let us focus on creativity, on expanding consciousness, which is a very religious sounding goal and target on the one hand. On the other hand, that's Elon Musk's, and all the effective accelerationists on the tech side are using the exact same language. Expanding consciousness, making consciousness multiplanetary, and consciousness is the end. I think the end goal. And a lot of people, they don't have time in their day to expand consciousness. You can't sit and meditate and study and read and explore and create if you need to stare at spreadsheets or make fucking 200 PowerPoints for the man before the weekend. So I think having that AI take the load off us will allow us to focus on that expansion of consciousness, which a lot of various groups agree is a worthwhile target for this man-machine hybrid that we've got going on.
Yeah,
I think it does raises the question that,
LSD.
yeah, absolutely. And I think it goes back to me to what Mark Andreessen said on an interview, I think it was last week, about
Joe
how
Rogan.
it's going to make everything a commodity, right? Everything that is expensive today, ultimately, if you start breaking down the value chain, it all goes to labor, right? Labor is very expensive. And if you pile that up to every product or service that you buy at the end, it becomes expensive. But when the labor is done by AI, so many things will become a commodity. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about what would that actually get. What would that actually make the economy look like? What would our day-to-day look like when this becomes the reality?
See, this is what happens, Dudu, when you don't do your job properly. The guy that we're supposed to be interviewing ends up interviewing us. Hey, by the way, if you're watching and you are a human, please hit the like, retweet, follow buttons, and write a comment because we can see the comments. And we like it when humans are watching. So far, only one human is watching, 3 panelists. Not a good viewer to panelist ratio. So please let us know that you are in fact watching, even if it's just the recording. We'll see that later. If you're a bot and you're watching, or if you've been paid to be here, somebody paid you 5 cents to put a comment, just put the comment excellent or nice work. Don't try and figure out what we're talking about. Just do your job and
GM, yeah.
Just GM or nice or excellent.
Nice, excellent.
Good content.
Good.
Those are great. Those are
great project. My investors, you got on the phone. Great project. Excellent.
There we go.
LFG.
Good morning, sir. Yalla Bitcoin. Good morning. Thank you. It's good to have humans in the house. Hernan is verified human. I've met him in real life, so we know that he's real. Anyways,
but this is your issue. I don't want humans watching. I want Zeri Bro and Goat. I want the ARs watching, the top ARs. It needs to be a different benchmark for it. It needs to be on an intelligence scale. I want and I don't know, because I would rather have 2 world-class ARs than 1,000 low-class humans watching my show, because the ARs can then go and create conversation around you afterwards and pump you up and that. Hello dear, how is your trading going? This is funny. This is really up. But I want to I thought you asked us a question before we were rudely interrupted by the bots and the human.
So listen, it's no, Hernan's got the right idea. You could show some of his comments here. In my mind, and it's always been like this in my mind, that eventually, hopefully in our lifetime, we will get to the utopia in which we don't actually need money, but rather technology comes and fulfills our every desire. So this is like the Star Trek economy. They don't have money over there. There's no need for it. Social status is one thing, rank is another thing, social interactions. But as far as food or whatever you need, basic sustenance, even pleasure, holograms or whatever, that there's computers that come in and provide that stuff for you. So there's really no reason to pay for it. It's all free of charge, and that just gets rid of money altogether. So I'm not really worried about it, because the reason that capitalism works for humans is because each and every human, by seeking out their own piece of the pie, or so to speak, their own sustenance and stuff like that, they are creating a larger economy, and we are contributing to the greater good. However, AI does what it's programmed to do, and generally speaking, there may be AIs that are programmed to trade the markets or make money or whatever, and that's their primary function. But overall, what they're supposed to do more than that, and the reason that we created them, is to serve us. And I want to tread very lightly here, because I know that 50 years in the future, the AIs are going to be listening to this recording.
Mati, Lloyd is saying something crazy, and you're going to be the first one. The AI is going to come and create a Mati coin. In the future, it won't be the humans creating AI coin. Rather, it would be the AIs that will, yeah, yeah, my little doll, dance for the Twitter feed so that we can pump your price.
Yes, well, hopefully that ticker will be taken by then. But
Mati's a great ticker, though. Mati's a great ticker. Dudu's an insane ticker.
they had
Insane.
Matic. It was Mati T, and then they got rid of it. I don't know what the heck's up with Polygon lately. Like, why did you get rid of that ticker? Anyways, my point is that we have to go from where we are today to that utopia. So there's got to be like this middle ground. Like, how do we get there? And I think that's what your question is. Like, where do we focus our efforts right now so that we can work towards, like, what's the basic roadmap look like? And Asaf, you are the guest, so I'm going to pose the question to you, please.
No, I want to tackle it, but like very short from anecdotal evidence of my own experience. So it's sort of like before I want to think of how I want to see things in the world, how do I see things for me and my family, and for me it's about trying to use this exponential technological curve that we're on, AI, crypto, all these 100x pump to create a situation where I'm completely financially independent from, it's first security is the first level, financial security, and then financial independence. And I never want to retire because I agree with Trump. To retire is to expire. I've seen old couples where one works, one doesn't. The one that works is I'm 20 years younger because working keeps you busy, keeps you active. But I don't want to work. I don't want to do, I don't want to work for the man. I don't want to do shit like the grunt work. Basically, I want to work more in the sense of creating, writing and creating and interviewing and talking. And I want to have more time for things that don't have an ROI. Like I've got I run a charity in South Africa that I don't really give a lot of time to because, I've got to pay bills. So I'm too busy chasing meme coin. So I would give a lot more time to that, and people would be able to orient themselves towards, again, the greater good and expanding consciousness, as opposed to having that be like, oh, on Tuesdays we do communal social responsibilities. So every first Tuesday of the month, we all go and pack boxes, and it's like 1 hour a day, 1 hour a month where we're good people, where we kind of like think of the greater good, expand and the rest of the time we're just PowerPoint, emails, and Excel spreadsheet. So I think, that's what it's about. It's orientating your life towards things that don't necessarily have to make you money, but they're for the greater good. They're about increasing goodness, kindness, consciousness, well-being on the planet, both of yourselves and of others.
Yeah, and I think if we're and I think if we're trying to take that down from kind of the philosophical discussion of AI, where does that make me crypto? I can also take that into the concrete level, perhaps a bit by showing a bit of what we're building and where do we think AI is really going to change how crypto companies
Let's do the demo.
Let's
Hit it up. I think it's time for the demo.
Let's do that.
Are we doing a demo for Addressable then?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case, I do have to tell you that several of our guests have tried to show us things that didn't necessarily pan out for them. You ask difficult questions, and sometimes
Mati, this isn't. We should
had several guests try to sue us before. Okay, so you're.
It's not a demo. It's a roast. You're going to show us your project, and then
the roast.
It's like a few of them, honestly, we have. But, if you're going to come and show us some shit, you got to know that you got to be prepared to face the music.
Let's see this. Hey, yourself.
I would say up front, we're a SaaS company, enterprise SaaS, no token, not shielding anything. What I'm basically focused on, it's not about.
Well, that makes it a lot better then.
Yeah, I would not focus on. This is a disclaimer, and then let's talk about the real things. But it's not about what's addressable, but about really how now AI is going to be the key fuel for growth for crypto companies. So what we're doing at Addressable, somewhat to provide the context for people who are less familiar with us, is that we're helping companies in the Web3 space better understand their audiences and better communicate with them to acquire users. That's what a lot of companies want. Everybody we're talking to, ranging from gaming to DeFi to exchanges from in wallets, want to acquire new users. And the key challenge, which is different in Web3, is that everybody is anonymous, right? There's tons of data on the blockchain about who's buying what, who's dealing with what, but not a lot of understanding of what's really behind that. How do I tap into the trends? What we built in Addressable, and that's just as pre-context for what I'm about to show, is we created a database that enables companies for the first time to target people and understand them based on what they're doing on chain. For instance, if you're a DeFi company looking to better understand the existing users of Uniswap, because that might be the users that you want for your DEX, for the business that you're promoting, or users that are dealing with 1inch token on the BNB chain, because that's where you're building. What we're able to provide you is better understanding of these audiences on the specific blockchain based on when they were last active on the blockchain and what's their net worth, right? This is this amazing ability, if you're thinking about marketing, to ask the question, who's our target audience? Where are we aimed at? Where can we find these users? What can we know about them? Let's call it, for the sake of that, DeFi users. So the way in which companies are using our system is starting by gaining a better understanding of the realm of these wallet owners. What are they doing on chain? What are they doing off chain? Where are they coming from across the world when we're trying to reach out to them? What's their balance distribution? How many of them are whales versus people just getting into crypto? What NFTs and tokens do they own? Who do they follow on social media? Who do these users care about? And what's the story behind these users? The reason I am showing you that, as well as our ability to target these users, right? It's very easy to use our system to launch campaign and target users on X, where literally all the discussions around crypto take place. This is also where this live goes. So hi, GM to everybody on X, display and Reddit, and ultimately track and measure everything that's happening on your funnel. This is the 1 minute about everything addressable and how users are using our system. Now, when I dive into where does the AI goes in, I'm not sure how many of the people in the audience has a background of marketing or paid marketing. But this is an art that is much more difficult to master. The understanding of how to build target audiences, how to analyze them, how to do competitive analysis, how to do better understanding, how to buy media, right? If you have a budget of $100,000 a year or $1 million a year, where do you buy the media? Which are the channels that are actually getting you good return for what you're building? This is a skill that is very difficult to find. And in particular, if I'm looking at crypto as a vertical, these people are almost not around. Think about every crypto company that you know, that you're in touch with. Perhaps it's your founders in the crowd. Think about your own company. How many of the people within the company know how to buy media correctly, to analyze audiences, and to drive growth in a data-driven way? And that's not a challenge just for you. It's actually a challenge in the growing world of SaaS. And this is where the AI fits in, right? This entire kind of intro, it's all leading to the same place. What we're building in Addressable is the actionable intelligence using AI. What we're trying to do is we're trying to take the data, surface that very easily, and use AI to fuel the growth of your company, whether what you're building is an exchange, it's a wallet, it's a Web3 game. And we're fitting in the AI in several places. One of them is when building audiences and looking at target audiences of interest that you want to target, what we're providing is a recommendation of other businesses that are similar to what you're building. For instance, if what you're building is in DeFi, which is the same example that I provided with earlier, you might not know what are other DeFi businesses that you're looking to build with, or if some wallets are converting on some DeFi businesses, is there a correlation with other businesses that are converting for the same thing? Similarly to the well-known example in marketing, that people that are buying diapers in the supermarket are also very likely to buy beer, because these are parents to young children, and these are two products that don't look like they're similar, but eventually it's the same audience that is buying both. So you can use that by tapping into our audience recommendation, which we have AI that is mapping more than 1 billion wallets on more than 7 blockchains and growing, analyzing the profile of the wallet owners on chain. What are these users buying? And if I'm looking at my business or the business of my competitor, I can also find other users on chain that are looking to buy the same thing. And this is how I can grow my audience without hiring anybody that's an expert on analyzing target audiences and analysts that would find it difficult to get the data, would find that difficult to getting the results. And everybody, either way, in crypto startups, they're working 120%. So this is one thing that the company management can actually very easily, using AI in our system, better understand whether a target audience is on the blockchain that we can aim for. And what you can see over here, these are some additions. Like if you're looking for people originally that are dealing on Uniswap and 1inch, why don't you also target the users that are owning the sushi coin? So this is one part of the AI and how to kind of tap into additional audiences. The second part of the AI, it forms with attribution. So attribution, for those of you who are less familiar with that, it's the practice of when you spend money on campaigns, be it PR or influencers or organic work on social events, in paid ads, what you ultimately want to know is what's bringing out good returns, right? And this is a very challenging task, analyzing all the channels that you're running. And ultimately, what marketing wants at the end of the day is to report to leadership about the trends, right? Think about your marketing teams in the average crypto companies. They're doing so much work. They're overwhelmed by everything, right? They're trying to get the conferences done right and the PR and everything. And at the end of the day, CEO or founder is asking, what's actually driving return, right? So what we're building is the one ground source of truth that feeds in all of the data for everything that you're running from the variety of sources, from paid ads and users visiting the website and converting on chain, going into Telegram, going into Discord. All of these events are flowing into our system. But still, that doesn't solve for the challenge of forget about it. Just tell me, how am I doing? What is working well? What is not working well? This is what we're launching next month, which we're referring to that as trends, which with an AI that is running on all of your data. If you want to address the question, for instance, out of the traffic that I had to my website that had a wallet installed on their browser, how many of them are actually buying that? What are the different sources from which I'm getting to these users? What you'll be seeing over here on the right-hand side is you're doing very well with your campaign running in the Ukraine. We've actually seen a 30% ROAS that's been driven over there. Your organic social campaign has been decreasing with 30%. We recommend that you change the creatives with what you're doing over there. On paid search, the terms that you're using, this one is working very, very well for you. So this is something that we'd invest more into. This is the power of AI in days in which it's very difficult to find marketing professional in crypto. So getting these insights floating on top of the surface to understand how well is your marketing going? How well are we able to promote the product to build a sustainable business in Web3? This is something that we're seeing a lot of businesses tapping for, especially with a trend that I described earlier, in which more businesses are going to be feeding in payments with stable coins and tapping into that. So if I'm trying to capture everything in 2 sentences and shutting down my screen, we see the use of AI for fueling crypto growth in 2 places. One of them is quickly understanding the market. Who's making money? Where do I find more users? What is working for my competitors? Oh, is somebody leaving the token that is doing something similar to what I'm doing? I want to capture on this opportunity. This is one thing on the targeting side. And the other thing is on the attribution side. There's not one single founder that builds a business that doesn't ask this question. What is working for us? Where do we want to invest more? What is not working for us? Where do we want to make it change or to down invest, right? And it's very difficult. I don't know many crypto companies, including the biggest ones that we're working with, that are finding it easy to address the question. So with the one source of truth, with all the data inside, and AI on top of that to easily show you the trends, easily give you insight, easily give you recommendations, we believe crypto companies can fuel growth much more effectively. Pausing here.
So
Epic, yeah. Mati, go, but before we, this is what C Flat thinks is, got from your talk and stuff.
Yeah,
Which is one way to look
say,
at it, I guess.
I would say, yeah, it's a fair comment. I would say, I'm a boomer, right? I'm nearing 40. No longer a young kid. I'm not a crypto romantic in that thinks crypto is going to stay with shell coins. And as a matter of fact, most of the companies we're working with today are very sustainable businesses. The biggest blockchains in the space. It's the biggest exchanges. It's the biggest wallets. It's the biggest games. These are real companies building real products. And I can tell you that these companies, I believe they're the future of the space. I do think there are other businesses that we all know today and thinking about them as Web 2, but we are seeing them talking to us about payment in Web 3. And I think this is the future. And these businesses would want to feed in the data off of blockchain, understand how they're doing. In an open economy in which all of the data is lying there, it's very difficult to process that, enrich that, and get insights using AI. This is what we're looking to change. The shilling of shitcoins, it's personally, I'm not much into that. But as a builder, I'm thinking 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead. Where would blockchain fit into the bigger economy? This is where we're seeing the most potential.
Yeah,
right.
I think it's the
future. Question,
yeah.
Sorry.
Of course.
The future is definitely in that wallet targeting. A lot of these companies that you're talking about, they're probably using stable coins, or they're doing paid campaigns on Twitter. They're not necessarily trying to get people also in the this call to action isn't buy my shitcoin. It's usually use my services or come trade on my platform or connect or download or whatever. The shitcoin money.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious. Lloyd has a thing. He knows another company like you guys. You need to drop a name, bro. Otherwise, name or it didn't happen. I'm curious. Before we get into the end of the show, but I must ask. You said if anyone here, I do some marketing, and I'm always on the lookout for what channels are working. In my experience, like the only channel that's really worth investing in crypto is Twitter, crypto Twitter. Like paid ads have never really shown positive ROI. Like Google stuff doesn't really work. Display, if you're getting the right placement, if you're like a gaming company in crypto and you get an ad on PancakeSwap or CoinMarketCap, it might be worth it. But to just do display of Google ads, I don't see it worthwhile. And what other channels? Email marketing.
You have seen results. It's really never been good for me. The only thing that's ever worked for me and my companies is KOL advertising. So actually getting a good relationship with the KOLs, generally speaking, is the ones that are into what you're building. that have the audiences that are going to be into what you're building. But Asaf, I'm confused because so you just showed off this platform and it's got a bunch of data about a bunch of wallets and stuff like that. Where does the data come from? I mean, blockchain doesn't have country flags on it. Like there's no geolocation. Where do you get that information from?
Yeah, so that's what makes Addressable unique, and that also addresses Lloyd's question. What makes us unique is that on top of the blockchain data, which is publicly available, despite the scale which is difficult to process, what we do is we enrich wallets with social information. This is the key thing that we do in Addressable. We're collecting data about the social profiles that are attached to their wallets. We're collecting additional data about what's happening throughout campaigns that are being executed to better understand user behavior, not just on-chain. On-chain, it's the payment layer, right? Is what wallet pays for what.
Can you give me an example of a social profile that's connected to a wallet?
Yeah, I'm a bit scared when you say that because, like, I don't want people being able to connect me to my wallet.
Yeah, not only that. I mean, it just goes to a deeper concern of like, what are we trying to build here, and why is it better than, Famga? Like, those guys have been harvesting our data for years. So I'm on a blockchain user, you're harvesting my data. You're not paying me for that shit. So where are you getting it from, and why should I give it to you?
You don't need to give it to me. If you're thinking about Famga as well, they're not paying you either. But what I'm thinking of is the side of the crypto companies. For them to grow, they need to use data, right? And I think the more they're staying with the KOLs within the niche, not using data for growth, we're going to be stuck with Web3 not reaching the mainstream. So as a company, we're fully
I agree with you on that, and I'm looking forward to trying this out for several of my companies. However, I really would like to know where this data is coming from, because you mentioned socially connected profiles to your wallet. I'm not sure that I've connected anything socially, and I've got 30 burner wallets over here. So maybe you could explain to me, like, what if I clicked on connect that might give you my country flag?
So it's not an opt-in connect. We collect data from a variety of sources that I will not elaborate on but they're all permission based on terms and services. And the one thing that you've not seen in the demo, and you will never see that, is we never provide the individual that's behind that, right? And to be, I mean, without the bullshit, no one cares about that, right? No one cares when they're building for marketing who's the specific person behind a specific wallet. We're not a compliance agency. We're not doing anti-money laundering. It's about understanding.
The reason that I'm concerned is because I'm your product. You're selling my data, and I want to know where you got it from.
So I'm not selling your data, right? What I'm selling is the trend, right? It's all based on terms and services. If one source of data is Twitter API, for instance, right? I'm not selling your data. You understand that, right?
Wouldn't it be nicer though to like incentivize the users? And I mean, I've been involved in several projects, none of them have gotten very far, but to create a marketplace where people can sell their own data.
Yeah, I would say, as the vision, it's an amazing idea. But being realistic, at the given point in time, it's impossible to bootstrap at a scale that would really build for something meaningful, right? Because eventually, whenever you bootstrap a marketplace, you always start with the supply and never with the demand, right? If you start with, let's find users that are willing to lease their data to buy the data source, I haven't seen any example of something like that.
You can send them an airdrop. You don't need their permission for that.
Yeah, you can send them an airdrop, but have you ever seen such a project that does that gets to tens of millions of entry points out users that are actually buying? Like, think about marketing use cases. What you ultimately want to find is trends about users that are buying. What I've always seen with projects that are finding people that are willing to sell the data and care enough to spend the time into that. They're going into the market of the non-buyers. What we ultimately want to build, and it might have shifted down into the rabbit hole of where do we get the data? And I'm really happy to address all of these questions. It's just that we're at time. We have on our website, by the way.
Oh, no, you don't, man. We go on. You answered the question, man.
Yeah,
No,
I think what I do want to say is that you were asking earlier, and Dudu was mentioning whether this actually worked, right? I think you can go on our website and find a variety of case studies that you can look at different customers that work with us and see results of what works. I think, Dudu, you've seen that working as well for Crypto Aid Israel, right? The ability to find, and there's a full case study about that, the ability to find donors that would donate to the cause of Crypto Aid Israel had a 200% ROAS.
you know what would be interesting to go.
I'm thrilled, Asaf. As a founder, I'm thrilled. I can't wait to try this, and I'm booking a demo right now as we speak. But as a user, I'm outraged. So I hope you understand my conflict, my inner conflict here.
Yeah, it's a conflict that I can. If you book the demo, we'll schedule some time to go over that.
I've got one last question about the data thing.
Yeah.
I think we'll wrap it up nicely. Your technology and abilities, would that give us the ability to map one-to-one data, social profiles to wallet, or is it more of a sort of clustering, right? Where you can cluster different groups together and make some assumptions on that.
Yeah, what we believe in, this is also the guideline of compliance. It's never about the individuals, right? Regardless of what's in our data stores, what you've seen with the platform at the moment is we're never surfacing the data of the individual users, both because it's not contributing to understanding market trends, where can you advertise, how well are campaigns going, right? You wouldn't see that at all with attribution systems, right? But the key part that is important is the understanding of the general trends. So on the compliance level, we're never revealing an individual data behind that.
Yeah. Well, the lesson I got from that is just be more careful.
I'm glad to hear you say that, and I would be thrilled if you said something along the lines of, well, eventually we'd like to create a data marketplace where users can trade freely and decide what they're sharing and what not. But in the meantime, what I'm hearing from you is that we're harvesting data, we know how to do it, and you can't stop us, and we're going to make money off of you, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's what I'm hearing from you.
I would frame that under a different narratives. Unless Web3 companies are finding a good way to use data, where would this industry go, right? How much can you work as an industry that is not going into the mainstream, that is all locked in with cabals and with influencers that is stuck within their niche? Unless they're using tools of data, which you'll find in any other industry, as long as they're compliant, as long as they're ethical, as long as they're legal, which I can guarantee you, Addressable is on that side, right? What we care about and our key driver is, as an ethical company, as a compliant company, we want to help this industry grow. We're big fans of the world of blockchain from the academic perspective, from the startup perspective, from the corporate perspective. We're big believers that unless key companies in the space use tools to grow sustainably, where would the situation of crypto would go?
Yeah, Mati, I think it's a bit. I think it's a bit. I think it's a bit like disingenuous because everyone's harvesting our data. Cellcom is harvesting your data, and the government is harvesting your data. And
I know, but what are we trying to build? But what are we trying to do here? We don't want it to be the same. We don't have the same system. We want to build an identical system to what we already have. Literally,
I understand. You want to see fix the world with the decentralization, but it's not. It's not there yet. And as long as
you can remain a purist, right? You can remain a purist, Mati, and I'm seeing this kind of form that is going in your head. But ultimately, it's the founder's dilemma, right? You have this idea of the perfect world that you want to build, but unless you build that gradually and in steps, it will find it very difficult to bridge into the mainstream, right? You want to build this kind of new domain that is using different practices for everything all over. I think it's a good vision, but unless you go gradually into that, how would crypto get there?
I appreciate your explanation there, because it is exactly what we said half an hour ago in this discussion, that we're getting to the utopia. But how do we get there? We've got to take baby steps, and we've got to break it down into sizable chunks. Anyways, appreciate you coming on, Nassaf, and really real pleasure to meet you.
Thank you for having me, and looking forward to continue our chat. Thank you, Mati. Thank you, Dudu.
I'm booking a demo right now. Are you kidding me? I want to see this shit, how it works under the hood, man.
Comment on. Perfect.
Cool. Have a wonderful day, guys.
everybody.
Thank you for joining, and we'll see you back next week on the Breakfast Show.
Perfect. Bye, everyone.